This is Christina Michelle with WRPB Studios. And today we're going to be speaking with Miss Sydney Thomas. She's running for the Martin County School Board. Welcome, Sydney. How are you today?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for having us as well. So, what is your experience?
So I lived in California for about 8 years, and while I was there, I received a dual teaching credentials through a very well-respected teaching credential program in California, both in general education and special education. And I taught in California for a few years, and then we moved to Florida when we had our first child, so we could be close to family. And I stayed at home to raise them for 5 years, and then I went back into teaching at in within Martin County School District at a school called Riverbend, which a lot of people don't know, but it is a district school and it's right on the edge of the county, and it serves the students who are receiving inpatient mental health care. So their average length of stay there is between 4 and 6 months. So they're district residents, and so they have to receive an public education while they're there. And so I worked at Riverbend Academy, and then moved from there to a Martin County School District program specialist. And that role was great because the actual title was Prevention Intervention Program Specialist, and my entire job was to go to all 12 of our elementary schools and collaborate with them on how to deliver interventions to their students and the best structure and approach, and what were the requirements, and how can they format their teams. And so because I am someone who really dives into rabbit holes quite easily, I really wanted to know why everything was the way that it was, basically. Like, what are our responsibilities as a public school for students who are struggling? And this is reading, math, behavior, mental health, anything. What are our legal responsibilities? What do we have available? What's what's happening already? And so I started to dive deep in with the other departments, so curriculum and instruction and exceptional student education and Title I. So I really familiarized myself very well with not only Florida statute and the U.S. Department of Education rules for public education, but also with our leadership teams across the district. So at each of the 12 elementary schools, their leadership teams, and then also the leadership within um, the district departments. And so I got a really well-rounded experience working for the school district as a program specialist. And that's my educational experience. But when I left in 2020, I've stayed involved with public education advocacy since then.
Excellent, excellent. Yes, and I saw on the back of your t-shirt here, if you want to stand up and show us for a moment. So in addition to being a former educator, we also have a parent, business owner, advocate, and volunteer. And with all of those things combined, what is your goal? What is your hope if you make the election for the Martin County School Board?
So when I first moved here 15 years ago, I was stayed at home for the first 5 years. But when I was ready to go back into public education, there were barely any teaching jobs available. And I remember going and asking a leader in the district, what's the best way to become a teacher in Martin County? And there were so few openings that he told me that I was probably better to get a job as an instructional aide to get my foot in the door, and then build relationships, and then get a job as a teacher. And instructional aides make far less. It's not a salaried position. But that's how competitive it was. We had teachers driving, 45 minutes a day to teach in Martin County School District so their kids could be enrolled within the school district. So Martin County Schools was this stellar reputation, like an elite public school district where everyone knew it. The realtors, people were climbing over themselves to send their kids to Martin County School District. And since then, a lot has changed in the world, but our reputation as being this top tier public school district is no longer there. We're kind of just somewhere in the middle there. And we don't have the type of reputation that we did before. So one, I want to support the superintendent and the educators with getting us back to that elite place that we had, but our right now our teachers and our school board, our educators and our school board have a very contentious relationship. And you can see that every year when they go to the table to negotiate their compensation, Martin County School District is often one of the last in the state to settle. And it has created this very tense relationship between the boots on the ground, our educators, and then the school board making policy and budget decisions. And I think having an educator with experience on the board will help to heal that relationship. I also think that there's a damaged relationship between the school board and the community right now because of external factors in the world that have happened and some of the response. And I think that, again, having an educator and a parent of Martin County School students will help to heal that, as well as, I have a lot of educational experience. And so when policy and budget decisions are coming across the table, I have a context to put it in. I can better understand why someone from curriculum and instruction is asking for X, because I have that background knowledge and that actual experience.
Very nice. Yeah, someone who has a public school education. I had an education come from New York, and I loved all of the access I had. I learned how to use computers when I was 12 years old. So I appreciate public school education. I appreciate our public school educators. So thank you so much. I'm so glad that we have someone who not only wants to work on the Martin County School Board, but who has so much in-depth knowledge and experience, and who kind of wants to bridge that gap between the Martin County School Board and what we need as grassroots campaigning as well. So once you do get on the school board, what action do you plan on taking? What role can you really actively engage in once you're on the Martin County School Board?
So I think that there are some issues that are really important with the community right now. As I am campaigning, very few people are asking me about graduation rates or test scores or, what would usually be coming up in a school board election. Most of the questions that I'm getting are about book removals, or some people call it book banning. I'm asked questions about, is there indoctrination in our schools, that sort of thing. So really I think while the people who are boots on the ground, our teachers, our administrators, these are not the parts of their day that for them need the most attention. Like, a lot of educators don't really pay attention to the book removal issue because they're just focused on trying to educate their students and doing the best that they can, and principals are trying to make sure that they have all of the positions filled and someone's covering the class and the behavior issues. But the truth is that the community as a whole, which is part of the Martin County School District, whether they're teachers, whether they're parents, whether they're staff, or just citizens that are, part of the tax, like sales and property tax, part of that, those issues need to be addressed a little bit more, with more transparency, because I think that's part of the trust that's kind of broken down. So that's a very long start to me saying that I would want to address the book removal process a little bit more to gain back some trust from the community that seems to have been broken. And it has also, we made national news for our actions on that, so I'd want to have that addressed. That's a really big part. And then I think that there's a lot of additional information that the school board could be giving the public on these kind of hot button issues to help them to better understand, and also to listen to more from their perspective. And so I think more open line of communication between myself as a school board member and the community, as well as addressing what is a really big concern for many constituents in the area, which is the book removals.
And if elected onto the Martin County School Board, how long does that position last for? Do you have to get voted again into it?
They're 4-year terms, and then so the election would happen in 4 years. And the state recently just passed a term limit law of 8 years, so I would only be able to serve 2 terms.
Very nice. You've got 4 years to prove yourself to the community. And what kind of feedback have you gotten from the community so far when you started letting everyone know you were running?
Very positive. I'm not coming into this out of nowhere at all. When I left education in 2020 because I'm a single income household with 2 kids, and I was looking at the trajectory of salary in Florida, and so I pursued my other career full time. I stayed involved. I'm going to school board meetings regularly. I've helped to co-chair multiple nonpartisan groups that are specifically about advocating for public education. And I've been very involved at the local level in public education advocacy. All of the school board members know exactly my advocacy far before I made the decision to run. And then because I had been so active in the school district in my program specialist job, a lot of administrators and teachers themselves know exactly who I am and what I'm all about, and they know that is my passion, is public education. I never ever thought that I would be running for any type of office. It's very strange, but it really does feel like a kismet type of moment where everything has been building to this opportunity and what would be best for our kids here.
Very nice. I love it. A teacher fighting for teachers with the
Yeah.
goal of saving the students. That's what we need more of.
Yeah.
And so the election is on August 20th.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any upcoming events or community outreach from here until August 20th?
So one of my favorite things to do are small meet and greets, and so we have several of those, but those are more of there's someone who's interested in learning more about my candidacy and my platform, and so they'll host a small get together at their home or a restaurant, and it can be, I don't know, somewhere around 20 people who don't really actually know that much about me or the election, and they're undecided, and it gives opportunity for us to have a lot of back and forth, answer questions, and go more in depth about things that we won't even cover today. And so those small meet and greets, I have several of those. We are going to have a bigger gathering, and information about that you could find on my Facebook page. That's more of an open house type of feel where people can come in. But we've already had 2 forums, and I don't believe I've seen any others. Oh, there's a meet and greet in Indiantown for candidates. I think that'll be less formal. But I think those are the only ones that are popping to mind right now.
Wonderful. And your website is sydney-thomas.com. That's SYDNEY-thomas.com. And now if guests want to find out what events you have coming up, they can go to the website. The website is also linked to the Facebook. You're welcome to donate as well, and also read some more information on Sydney and what she's going to be doing. Now, is there any other information that you'd like to share with the community?
Yeah, I would. In addition to my experience as an educator, which would make me a very strong candidate in any other election against any other opponent, because I have the advocacy experience, I have the educational background, I have kids in the school, I have skin in the game, and my very blessed life would allow for me to participate fully as a school board member. So all of that aside, I also am truly driven by a passion for a strong public education for all students in Martin County. And so because of my blessed profession, I don't have any conflicts of interest that would make me make decisions other than what is best for our students. And I think that's unique to find in a very small area where people, are born and raised and stay forever. And I just don't have those conflicts of interest, or those conflicted decisions would just never come across the table for me. It would all be focused on what is best for Martin County School District, teachers, students, families, and community.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Sydney. So again, folks, this is Sydney Thomas. She is running for Martin County School Board. The election date is on August 20th. You can reach out to her. Her email address is sydforkids@gmail.com. That's SYD4kids@gmail.com. Her number is 772-210-4387. I'm Christina Michelle with WRPB Studios. Sydney Thomas, thank you so much for your time, and we wish you well with the Martin County School Board election.
Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Have a great day, folks.